Hi guys, I'm Gasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times. Today with another movie review, I'm here to talk to you about The Power.
It's coffee time.
Now don't confuse these with The Power, an Hindu action thriller movie, because it is easy to mistake it. This is a British horror movie. This film, from the trailer, from the poster, looked like 100% my jam, so I knew that I had to check it out as soon as I could, and I'm here to give you my spoiler-free thoughts on the movie. So before we jump into the discussion, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel before you leave, and also hit the notification bell so you don't miss any more coffee times. The Power is a British horror film written and directed by Corina Faith and starring Rose Williams, Emma Rigby, Shakira Rahman, Charlie Carrick, and Irene Henry. We are in London in 1974. The trade unions and the government are at war. The economy is in crisis. Blackouts have been ordered to conserve power, plunging the nation into darkness every night. As Britain prepares for the blackouts, we follow a nurse that is still training called Val, and she's being sent to East London Infirmary. It's a place that is already crumbling, and most of the patients need to be evacuated and be brought to other facilities. So sadly, Val is stuck with the night shift, which she also calls the dark shift. So Val is going to be left in the middle of the night in this nearly empty hospital, going through the hallways, and she's going to start exploring her past, her fears, her trauma, and also there seems to be something supernatural roaming the hospital. When I heard about this movie and I read what it was about, I was a little bit surprised that these 1970s blackouts and that time period was not explored in horror movies so much before. I don't think there is any full-on horror exactly based on the blackouts of Britain in the 1970s, and it's honestly so perfect, especially if you base your movie in a hospital. The film being based in this kind of crumbling down, nearly empty hospital helps so much already with the atmosphere and creating this spookiness, and also that we know our characters are left in the dark with no power. I love to see those washed, faded color palette. Like, the visuals were stunning in this film, and especially at the very beginning they were using nearly every surface that could reflect or any mirror to kind of give us that sensation that our main character Val is being watched, and it helps so much to make it so unsettling from the get-go. As I was saying, the visuals and also the lighting were so good. They were excellent in this film, and it all helped so much to the atmosphere, also being in the dark, but also the cinematography was just on point, and there was also a lot of decent acting in the movie, especially by our main character Val, played by Rosie Williams, who has a wide range of emotions that we're going to get from her because she has to go through a lot in this film. And if you add to that amazing cinematography and visuals, really good score, then you have the perfect atmosphere. The score was not one of those typical horror movie ones that are building up to every jump scare that you can ever imagine. It had some solo moments, it had some more intense score moments, but I personally really enjoyed it because it was not your typical expected kind of soundtrack. Now, there are some jump scares in this movie, but they didn't really bother me. I like that they tried to do a more classic kind of horror when it comes to the effects. The special effects were perfectly fine. It was creepy, it was unsettling, and even though it can be a little bit cliche at times, I did enjoy that the movie went back to kind of a more classic approach to the horror scenes, and honestly I think it fit this movie so well. So I personally prefer the first part of the movie. It was more straightforward. It did a better job with the tension, with being, creating this feeling of suspense. I feel like the second half was a little bit more predictable, and it could be, like I said, a little bit repetitive at times when it comes to the visuals, but definitely, good effects, and I love that they kind of stripped down a little bit the horror elements and they didn't go extremely all out, you know, they kept it to the classical horror kind of elements. So we have here a movie that it's merging together horrors of real life and bringing us some social commentary, and it's putting it together with supernatural elements. And the way that it works so well is because it's all, in a way, the fear of what we cannot see, and it is lovely to see how they have approached this, having Val go through all of her trauma and go through this fear of this entity in the middle of the night in this nearly abandoned hospital with no opportunity for her to turn on the lights in the rooms. We have here a common fear, the fear of darkness, the fear of being in the dark alone, and I think that it is something that we can relate so well because the movie is giving us this really slow pace from the very beginning and stays kind of slow pace for the whole film, and it's allowing the viewer to really connect with Val, with her story and with her trauma. We are here in the 1970s, so we do have here the topic of women oppression, and we have here a woman that is a low-wage earning woman in a sexist and classist society. We can see her frustration, we can see that she feels powerless at times, and we will see sometimes men say stupid things, like there is this guy that says to Val, you should smile more often, and I was like, bruh. It kind of addresses a little bit or brushes over the feeling of what it means to be a victim of abuse and how you carry that burden with you and you never really recover from it, and it's something that it's always with you. You're going to see that she is pressured socially and also professionally, and it is part of what makes this movie stand out a little bit. I feel like the message did not come out as strong as other movies that have tried to do something similar, but I did enjoy to see a movie from this time period kind of bring a kind of fresher approach to it. I ended up giving this movie a 3 out of 5. It was not a perfect movie, but I really enjoyed it. I think they did such a good job to give us a really serious movie about a serious topic, but also make it creepy, spooky, with all of those supernatural elements added to it. This is also a movie that is more on the low budget of things, and mostly the whole movie happens in just the hospital rooms, and it is so amazing the way that they utilized this hospital and made it work so well, and it is super atmospheric. There are some moments where we see Val roaming through the hallways just with this little lamp with her, and just the visuals are just stunning. Anyway, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this movie review. If you have already seen this film, let me know down below what you thought of it. Of course, when I started watching this movie, it came to my mind the movie Saint Maud, which I watched earlier this year and I absolutely loved. They are not at the same level, but there are some similarities between the films that I cannot unsee, and I feel like Saint Maud was able to bring the message across a lot more stronger than this one did, even though we have here also some psychological horror elements to it. So let me know down below what you thought about it, and I think if you enjoyed Saint Maud, you still can give this one a chance. Even though they were not at the same level, I think you would still enjoy it. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Please give the video a big thumbs up for support before you leave, and I hope to see you all guys in the next coffee time. Bye.